Hi, I'm Dr. Howard Rankin, along with Grant Rainier for today's Intuality AI podcast. And we have a lot of interesting things to talk about ahead of the New Hampshire primary. So without further ado, hey, Grant, what's the latest?
Well, there's some interesting information now coming out of the system, IntualityAI, about the projected outcome of the New Hampshire primary. And I'm going to show you that in two ways, two charts. But basically, the system is calling Buttigieg for New Hampshire by a substantial margin. And we've got this displayed in two charts, two kinds of charts that come out of the system. And I'll explain why we have two and how they differ. The first chart is the one you're seeing right here. On the left side of the screen are the national poll results offset by the Intuality sentiment value and then predicted forward. So this kind of keeps it in line with what the national polling numbers are. And as you can see, Buttigieg is at the top, followed by Sanders below him. And then down below that is Biden and Klobuchar. And then finally, Warren and Bloomberg. So by this view, definitely Buttigieg is coming out of this, going into this primary, predicted to be fairly strong winner. The other way to show these results is simply show this chart here, which is simply the sentiment values that are produced by the system. And it roughly has the same result, but some of the curves are a little different in how they're arranged. But nevertheless, at the top is Buttigieg, and below him by a significant difference is Sanders. So the end of the story at this point, and before the Democrat debate tonight, the system is predicting Buttigieg to come out ahead in the New Hampshire primary next Tuesday. Going further, we want to reiterate that we did make the call for Sanders in Iowa. And while we understand that's still sort of up in the air between Sanders and Buttigieg, we'll stay with our call for Sanders. And maybe with a few more days, we'll be able to see what the final outcome is there. And this is just a repeat of the curve that we showed in our last podcast, which is clearly showing Sanders to be the winner. Howard, that's the current result.
Yeah, and when we talk about Sanders being the winner in Iowa, are we talking about popular vote or delegate assignment?
We make no distinction there. Basically, the source of our data comes from all of the national polling organizations. And so I would think that that's going to be going on how they conduct their polls in general will be a voter opinion or sentiment. Right. So that's the way it looks for us.
Excellent. So that's our prediction today on Friday, the 7th, just prior to the debate this evening. And it certainly looks as if Buttigieg has a fairly commanding lead at this point. Of course, that can all change in twinkling of a debate, but we'll see how it goes. But right now that looks good for him and Sanders too, also continuing with a reasonable push. What this doesn't look good for is the other candidates who seem to be struggling in the wake of these top two, but we'll just have to see. And now, if you're interested in looking at this more and finding out more about IntualityAI, you can simply go to the website, IntualityAI.com. There'll be more material there explaining a little bit more about Intuality and having these graphics there for you. So till the next time, thanks for watching.
Thank you.